Hi everyone, it's Heather. I am going to make some of these gorgeous little cluster embellishments. I call them cluster embellishments. I've actually stolen the idea completely from a channel called Vintage Style Snippets, and she has made them and she calls them cluster pins. Now I've had to adapt because I don't actually have any pins. I certainly can't find any. I don't have any bulb pins. It's something I've been meaning to get for a while, but I haven't got any. So I'm having to use paper clips, and I have an abundance of paper clips, so I'll be using these. And she calls them cluster pins, and basically what she was doing was using sort of punches of shaped card, adding sort of lace and ribbon, I think, and then sort of decorating the front and adding it onto a pin, which would then, you know, you could clip onto your book. But because I've got the paper clips, they obviously they still clip on. They're really great, so I just pop that one on here, and I've got an absolute abundance as well of these shapes, these little punch shapes. So I've got a load of these to use. I have little tiny drawers of them that are pre-punched out, ready to go, and I also punched out a few in colours that I thought might go nicely with the styles that I tend to do, so that I've got some in hand. I also did a little bit of fussy cutting as well. I've got a variety of embellishments to go on the front as well, some little buttons, some little flat back pearls, this sort of thing as well, flat backs, and little gems and things like that. So hopefully this will be nice and relaxing. I'll show you, these are the two that I've made so far. So literally just a heart shaped punch, and I've laid it up so they're double layer so that they're nice and stiff. Then just punch a hole in the top somewhere. I inked around the edges, obviously we all do that, don't we? And then on the paper clip, when you pop the paper clip through, I used just a, usual lark's head knot just to attach the ribbon to the back of it, so it sort of dangles nicely at the back, and then just decorated the front up. I have quite a lot of these little envelope punches as well, so I've done a little envelope one for this journal that's on the go at the moment. It wasn't intended for this one, but I just thought, I wonder whether that'll go on the binding, and it does, and it goes lovely actually, the colour, so I'm really pleased with that. And then obviously with the little envelopes, you could pop a little note in there and seal it up, and that would look super cute as well. So I do have quite a lot of silk ribbon from sort of ribbon embroidery stuff, some bits of lace, some scrap paper. I'll be using I've got a cosmic shimmer for attaching my pieces of paper together, and I've got some embellishment glue for actually putting anything heavier, and also the 3-in-1 craft glue for any lace and stuff. So that's what I'm going to be using. So if you'd like to join me, I'm going to make a couple of these today, and then I'll have some in my stash to use in future. I would think if I don't actually add the paper clips to these, they just make really cute little embellishments anyway, so I might just make a few with some bits and bobs on the front, and then they're ready to go as well. So there we go. So that's the journal I'm working on at the moment, so I'll move that out of the way. I don't need that. I'll pop that out of the way as well. So let's get to it. You will hear in the background my children. They are playing games. They make it sound like they're being murdered. Honestly, they're not. They're absolutely fine. They're safe. They're absolutely fine. There's only me and the children in the house. They're just playing a game on the computer, and because they're playing together, they have shut themselves in one of the bedrooms, but they're so loud. So you will hear them. There'll be lots of, oh no, I'm dead, oh, all that sort of stuff. I don't know what it is they're playing, but it sounds very dramatic, but I assure you they are absolutely fine. So if you hear any screams or whatever, there's a lot of laughter goes on as well. They're having fun. So we'll just layer up. We start by layering a few of them up, and then I'll ink around them, because actually I ink these after I'd made them, and actually it's more difficult when you've actually got the ribbon on. So how are you? Are you well? This is my first actual craft video for weeks. My first actual crafting for weeks, because I closed all my shops when we got poorly, or when my daughter got poorly. So obviously you can't have a poorly child and be working. And obviously then I came down with it. And then my other daughter came down with it, so we've been, basically I just closed the shop, cancelled all my orders and thought, you know what, just take some time off. And I felt like coming back in the craft room, gave it a really good clean up. Now we're all better, and I actually feel now like doing some crafting. So it's nice to get back to it. I feel like I've had a bit of a break, so I'll be opening the shops again. I should have done it yesterday really, but you know, I'm just really enjoying having some time off. You have to excuse me, I'm still a little bit croaky. I think, to be honest with you, some of it's allergy, because there's a lot of pollen about at the moment, so that's why I sound a little bit congested, clearing my throat and whatnot. I've got some little tiny ones here as well, so I might do those double-sided too. I don't like the red and white stripe, but I do like the polka dot, but I don't suppose it matters if I had some stripes on the back. I've not done any that small yet, so let's see how that one works. I have been thinking about asking you guys what sort of food you eat. I need some inspiration. I do have a recipe book, a recipe saver book, you know, where you have like little pockets in a recipe book and you just pop your recipes into pockets. I tend to do that sort of thing because I tend to write out recipes on cards, separate cards, and then just slip them in. So I'm looking for some meal inspiration, so particularly if you're vegetarian, that would be really useful. So any ideas you have would be great, but if you know, even meat dishes, if they can be easily adapted to be vegetarian or vegan, that would be marvellous. So meal suggestions in the comments below, that would help me out. I think it's so easy, isn't it, to get stuck in a rut eating the same thing over and over again. We do have sort of certain meals that we just go to all the time. Oh, I think my daughter might be calling me. Just, did you hear that? Just try and stay alive. I think she's talking to her sister. I assume it's that. Yeah, so some meal ideas, because we do tend to get stuck in a rut every now and then. I did a big list of meals to make in the next couple of weeks. So just a few ideas. My youngest daughter is quite fussy. So sometimes she won't eat what we eat. So I have to adapt the meals that we have so that there's something that she will eat as well. But she's trying more things now, so that's quite good. But it does mean that because she doesn't like strong flavours particularly, and she doesn't like spice at all, so that makes sort of making one meal quite difficult, because obviously then, you know, we could eat the same thing as her if we tone it right down, but it does mean that a lot of the food we eat is quite bland. Well, it feels like that anyway sometimes. So I've got a nice list of meals to do over the next couple of weeks, but I'm looking for some more inspiration. So any ideas would be gratefully received. I do like to cook meals where I can cook extra and then sort of turn it into something slightly different, or have it as leftovers next day, because as a working mum, you know what it's like, and I'm sure many of you have been in the same position when you've got a family. You are working all day, your days are quite short as well when you've got a young person that you have to collect from school, or you know, you're sort of expected to do food as soon as they get home from school. So your days can be quite short, so it's actually quite advantageous to bulk cook sometimes and have the next day sort of ready made, so you don't have to be downstairs in the kitchen prepping every single day. So I have found a couple of meals more recently where I've adapted it so that we can have the same food but a different sort of way, a little twist on it the following day. So for example, I make a vegetarian bolognese. My daughter likes it very much, or both daughters like it, and my husband likes it too. So it's really simple, quick, easy. I use soya mince and obviously tomatoes, sofrito mix, onion, garlic. So I make up a big batch of bolognese, vegetarian bolognese mix, and I pop that in the oven with large pasta shells. They're massive, they're brilliant. And that goes in the oven because they take quite a long time to cook. It's almost like having pasta sheets, and you know, the lasagna sheets, but they're shell shaped. So I pop those in, stick it in the oven, and just leave it for sort of 45 minutes, and then it develops some lovely flavour. But also at the same time I cook some spaghetti with that because my daughter really likes the plain whole wheat spaghetti. So we have that, and then we have some vegetables on the side like broccoli and peas, and that makes a really nice meal. But the following day, because there's inevitably some left because I make a big batch of it, I line a Pyrex dish with the leftovers, so the bolognese and the pasta mix, which is nice and tomatoey, and I make a cheesy sauce and I put that on top, and then I bake that in the oven, so it sort of becomes a lasagna sort of dish, and the kids love that as well. So the following day they're having practically the same food but with a different twist on it because it's got the cheese on it. So that's really nice. Now my husband generally doesn't eat dairy products. He does sometimes, but it's not good for him. So I do a slightly different version for him, but I can still use some of the leftovers. So I'll just pop his in a separate dish, and then I'll use like a vegan sort of substitute for the dairy. Or I will just put some of the vegan cheese on top, and that's really nice actually. So if you're a vegan, you know, that's a really good alternative as well. So it does make a completely vegan dish. Obviously the bolognese is a vegan dish anyway, because the pasta is it's just durum wheat semolina, so there's no egg in that anyway. So it's actually a brilliant option for vegans as well. My husband does eat meat, by the way, he just can't tolerate dairy. But we don't eat meat. My daughter and I, my eldest daughter and I don't eat meat. So we're sort of adapting everything to sort of suit everybody, because it's, I think when you have got different sort of dietary needs and tastes in a family, you can end up, you can struggle to eat just one meal together. You end up, as a mum, cooking several different meals every single time you cook, and to be honest with you, that's absolutely exhausting, and it can actually sort of be quite depressing in a way as well, because you feel like you're in the kitchen all the time, and you're really scared that people might not like what you've cooked, and if it's rejected then you don't have an alternative. So it can be quite stressful, as I'm sure, you know, everyone's experienced that at some time or another. So planning and trying new things, but making sure that I always have sort of a backup as an alternative, particularly for my youngest daughter, who sometimes really doesn't like the items that I cook. She's definitely getting better though. So another example, yesterday we had pretty much the same. It's the same thing. It's like the bolognese sauce, and so I made up a big batch of the bolognese sauce, and I then took half of it out of the pan and put it in a Pyrex dish, which I've cooled down, and that's gone in the freezer. So that's ready to add pasta shells to, or spaghetti or something like that. So that's gone in the freezer. So that's half the mix gone, and the rest of it I added some mixed beans. So that, I think it was like cannellini beans, I don't know, there was a good mix of beans anyway. And that, they're quite sweet because they're like baked beans. So they have a sort of sweet tomatoey sauce in them anyway. So that was to sort of help my youngest daughter to take the edge off, because then I added some chilli, some chilli beans, and they're in a chilli sauce. And if you just put those in, it's too spicy for us, you won't eat it. But because I added the mixed beans as well, and they're in that tomatoey sauce that's quite sweet, it just sort of took the edge off, and you couldn't you could hardly tell there was any chilli in it. So, but it wasn't bland because it had all the flavour of the bolognese, a little hint of the chilli, and also the sweetness of the tomato sauce. And I also added a can of coconut milk, and that went in the oven again with some pasta shells. But because it was with the chilli, and the taste was completely different to the bolognese sauce. That went down really well as well. So that's brilliant because I've got 2 meals out of that as well. So we had one and the other one went in the freezer, because obviously you don't want bolognese after you've had pasta one night. You end up having it a little bit too much. So anyway, so that was an example of the sort of double cooking. So I do like that. So if you've got any ideas, my youngest daughter particularly likes pasta. Hi, I had to take a break. I'm afraid I had to pause filming because my throat got so dry I just couldn't continue, and I was starting to cough, and I didn't want that on camera. So I've taken a break and I've come back another day. My videos may take a couple of days to complete, often they do, but what I have done in the meantime is I've double backed, so back to back some of these shapes. So I've got all of these now, and I've also inked around them to make them sort of more vintagey looking like we usually do. So I've got a few of these, excuse me. And also in my rolling cart that you may have seen in my last video, I have this rather large pot of what I call ruffles and edges, and it's basically from when I used to make dolls clothes, sort of vintage style dolls clothes. It's little bits of tulle and things that I make into ribbons, and just basically just cut pieces of strips of fabric and whatnot. So I have those to the side of me, along with a few bits of seam binding and that sort of thing. So I'm going to now take the shapes that I've done back to back, and I'm going to add some little embellishments and some of the little dangly bits, so that we can make a few clusters. I'm not going to make them all with the dangly bits, but I'm going to make a few of them like that, and maybe just a few clusters with little decorations on the top. So we'll see how we go. What I might do is just take it in a little bit so you can see, and if I can, will that focus? Yes, that's good. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better. So I'll lay this one up just to see what it would look like. So I'm going to do a couple of vintage ones first. So the problem is I was chatting away, and my throat got so dry because I was enjoying myself so much being back doing a video and chatting about my favourite subject, which is food and what to cook for dinner. So I got really, really dry in the throat and I just couldn't continue. So I've cut a little bit out. And I sort of stopped before I did all of these and the inking. Right, so I'm going to pop a little bit of lace. So I don't really follow a formula. You know what it's like when you're making clusters. My theory is basically just, actually I probably should have done it that way up, shouldn't I, because I've got the little hearts on the back. I don't suppose it matters. Right, is just basically just layer things up, whatever looks cute, whatever looks right. I use a 3-in-1 craft glue when I'm putting lace onto an embellishment, because it just seems to hold it better. But sometimes you can see it through because it does sort of dry a little bit shiny. And I'll pop a little bit on here. And then I inked round just a craft heart punch. I apologise if I go off camera. I'm afraid that is something that I do tend to do a little bit when I'm zoomed in. because I forget. Right, now the best thing I think for these buttons would be this stuff. It's the Trim It bead and sequin glue, and I really like this stuff for holding down the embellishment. So we'll pop a little bit on there. It does dry clear, but it just holds things so strong. I think I put those in a different order, don't suppose it matters. There we go. Right, so I quite like that, that's cute, and I'm going to keep those with it when I pop the paper clip on. So if I make up a couple like that, that's cute. Let's make them on this side. So what we're going to do, if we pop a little bit of lace, I quite fancy using some of this as well. I'll just make a few up and then I think I'll finish, because I've actually opened the shops again, so I've got to get on with some actual work. Yeah, that's nice. But it is nice to do a video because it's been such a long time since I've done a crafting video. Now I know I was chatting about food, so I think I'll probably change the subject now. You've probably heard enough. But like I said before, if you've got any suggestions on good meals, particularly that you can then adapt into something different and use the leftovers, then pop them in the comments below. You'd really be helping me out. So the weather here at the moment is it's a little bit overcast, but that's quite nice actually when you're filming. And it's still quite warm, even though it has cooled down a little bit. The last few days had been really hot, and it was just a little bit too much because we don't usually get such bright hot weather in the UK. So it's really nice when it does happen, but then after a few days you sort of, that's it now, thank you. Okay, shall we put some buttons on there? Let's see. I really like that actually, isn't that pretty? With the lace and that little flower. It's quite nice. I quite like those. I feel like I should always do threes, but because I've got the flower there, no. Yeah, let's stick with those. And pop a little bit of the trimming glue. That's cute. I think we'll leave that for now. Right, what should we do with this one? No. We've got some white lace, that's not going to work. Oh, here we go. A little bit of cream maybe. We cut that at an angle, sort of shabby it up a little bit, and cut that off. Yeah, I quite like that as a background. Pop that on there. So my youngest daughter finishes school for the holidays today. So that's going to be quite emotional because that'll be her last day at primary school. And certainly I know I'll miss the primary school because they've been brilliant. It's such a lovely school, lovely teachers, the kids are lovely, and it's just a nice environment, isn't it? And then they go up to secondary school, which is, you know, is still, it's good, but it's different. Not sure that quite works. Is it too samey? I wonder whether some of this would work. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, so it's just different really, isn't it? But I don't know, it's an end of an era because it sort of signifies them growing up. Oh, I like that. On a positive note, it's summer holidays, so that'll be lovely because we don't have to do the school run every day. Get a lie in. Nope, too much. Yeah, and then we get to spend some time together. We're going to go to a craft place, a place locally that does pottery decorating, and they make slime, they do workshops and things like that, and my daughter really loves it there, as do I. So that's quite nice. I think I know I'm covering up a lot of that spotty, but I quite like that, so I'm going to put that on. So we'll get to do some workshops there, that'll be nice. And we've said we'll probably go to the cinema if there's something worth watching, because my daughter wants to take her second cousin. That'll be nice. And there are a couple of parks I think it'd be nice to visit. That's good. Alright, so that's 3. Maybe if we just do a couple more on camera. Let's do something a bit different. What shall we put on this one? Not sure about that. No. Got too green, yes. Oh, I do like that though. That's a lovely colour, isn't it? It's too wide, I think. Although I like that, I think that would be nice, sort of behind it. I might just cut a little bit off. My eldest daughter's been finished school now for a little while. She's waiting to go on to the next level of education, so she's been off school. And she's off out today, so she's just getting ready. Yeah, I quite like that as well. I think I might cut some of that. What to put on the front? Ah, now you know I did cut. Oh, I cut some flowers, but that's going to be a little bit overkill, isn't it? That's not going to look right. What shall we put? Oh, I've got a little shimmery heart, but then I'm covering up a lot of the pink. I do like that though. Probably do with just inking around the outside of that. Maybe in the pink. Will that work, do you think? Right. Let's pop a little bit of pink around the outside of that. And then we've got a little bit of glitter as well. You know, I don't know how people get through an entire video in one go. I don't seem to be able to do it these days. So there's some stopping and starting. Now that's subtle, but that is quite nice, if you can see that. So now we need something behind it. That's nice. I do like making clusters. They're pretty quick, even though I'm indecisive sometimes. Don't know. Or am I covering too much of it up? Oh dear. Thing is, you can overthink, can't you? Right, I'm going to put that one down first. I think I'll use this one just because it's open. pop that there to maximise some of that pink, and then I've just spotted some sequin flowers as well in my cart, so I think we might use those. And let's have a look in here. So I've got my gorgeous little pot of sequin flowers, and these look really cute. Oh, they're a little bit peachy toned, aren't they? They're nice. I like them. Not quite the right colour. Now that's better. I think we'll have that. Shall we go for 2? Just 1. I don't know. I'm so indecisive right now. I think we need something else on there, don't we? What else? I think these ones are going to be too big. That's pretty as well though. Let's just cut this one out, see what it looks like. Now I actually like that, and I'm thinking maybe if I've got a little button, I've got a little need a little white button, don't I? Is that too big? What do you think? Can you even see? Is it too bright? I quite like that. I think I'm going to go with that one. The button's a touch too big, but we're going to go with it anyway. It's still got some thread attached to it, and I'm going to see if I can keep that on there because I think that looks nice. Right then, so if we pop the Trim It glue on there and there and there, and hopefully that will hold fast. Oh, I like that. You have to look closely to see that it's even a heart, but I do like it. That's a cute little cluster. Okay, so we've got 4 there, ready to go. They're all drying, and I wanted that one on there. I actually quite like those on there. I think I'll pop those on there, and then I can add a little bit of pink behind it. And I apologise if you're screaming at me going, what are you doing? Why are you using those colours? I apologise. We all have different tastes, don't we? Right then, so those with that. And we could keep these just as separate little clusters. But I think I would like to see some pink and white dangling from that one. I don't know. Would I want the... No, that white is too stark. Now I'm going to have to find something cream. That's quite nice. A bit of the cream. I've got to clean my scissors. They're not cutting very well because they're dirty. Right, so that's cute. And we need something, I think, a little pink, salmony pink to go with those little... Oh, that's cute. Yeah, it's very thin, isn't it? But let's go with that one. So, yeah, I like those. That's very nice. Very vintage wedding. That one. Shall we add? Let's add something dangly on there, and I'll make the rest of them probably into just normal clusters. I do love this tool when it's just sort of scrunched up into like a little bow. I don't know, it's just so shabby. I love it. I think that's sort of taking over a bit too much, unfortunately. Ah, yeah, it is really, isn't it? Have we got a piece that we can just use on the back? Here we go. Right, so we'll have that, and now I think we should have a slightly darker colour. Let's have a look. I don't actually have any darker colours, do I? Let's see if I've got anything in the jar. Right, what's that? That's quite dark, isn't it? Ah, I like that. There, we'll go with that, and it's just the right amount as well. Shove those back in. Tidy as you go. And pop those in the rolling cart. Right, so that's probably a little bit too long, but let's go with it anyway. Right, so now what we've got to do, because we're turning these all into the little clusters like this with the little paper clip on. Gosh, I can't get my words out. What we need to do is take a hole punch and punch. I find it's better at the top, but obviously you can punch where you want, really. So just punch a little hole wherever you like. This one's still drying, so I'm going to punch a hole, but I think you need to bear in mind that one needs a moment or two to dry. This one, pop in there. I think this one shall pop to the top of the heart. Okay, so now we need the paper clips, and I'm thinking I might go for a large gold one with that one. I think silver would be fine with that one. I wish I had some sort of brighter silver, but we'll go with silver with that one. And I don't know, what do you think? I think gold maybe with that. I don't know. Silver doesn't look too bad, does it? No, we'll go with the gold. We can always swap it out later, can't we? Okay, so what we can do then is we've got to attach the paper clip so that, I can't remember how I did this now, so yeah, is that right? So you can have the clip on there, and then at the back bit here, because obviously if you're doing this with ball pins it'd be quite different, wouldn't it? So what I'm doing, I don't know whether you can even see this. Shall I zoom out again, because I'm now getting, whoops, by the way, make you sick there, sorry. So we're going to attach these to the paper clip, two little pieces of dangliness, so make them roughly the same length. Okay, and then that you basically just feed through the bottom the paper clip and then just tuck it back in on itself. If I can just make the hole go, just so that it's, there we go, so it's attaching it at the back there. So you've got the paper clip that you can literally hang off the side or clip onto page, or I don't know, anything you want to really. Okay. And then it would just dangle off. So there we go, so that's that one. Probably works better with the pins if I'm honest, but you know, use what you've got. Okay, so now we're going to pop this one in. These are a bit smaller. And take that round like that, and then from the back I'm just going to add the pretty blue ribbon and the seam binding. So just put that through there and then open up the loop and just push the tails back through and just pull it tight. So they then dangle at the back. That's lovely. Right then, this one here, we're going to pop in there. Ooh. And get the lovely seam binding. This stuff is just lush. And a bit of ripped cotton. So the middle of it, just fold it in half, push it through the bottom, the paper clip, and pull that through. And then in the loop bit, just push the tails through. I hope that's making sense and is obvious. You could, of course, if you wanted to, instead, just glue the tails to the back if you wanted. But that's how we're doing it at the moment. And last one, this one's still drying. It's quite a lot of glue on there. I think I put too much glue on. And we'll just pop this through the hole. Oh, that's so lovely. And put the ribbon and the lace together. Push that through the bottom of the paper clip and push the tails through. Oh, and I completely missed the ribbon, so I'm going to have to take that on. I think I'll just do that separately. I'll have to redo that off camera probably. There we go. Oh, that's not too bad, is it? It'll be alright. Okay, so we've now got these super cute little dangles in lots of different colours, but they are gorgeous. So we've got this one, which I think is very vintage wedding. I like that. Very cute. I'm sorry, the sun is just streaming in now because of the weather, so that's lovely. So I apologise if you can't see this very well. We've got this one with a slightly darker buttons, and that one with the buttons, and then this one, and I just love these colours. They are gorgeous. You can even see them. Pretty. And that one that I made originally, and then of course the one that is attached to my book, which is the little envelope. So there you go. So we've made a few. I'm not going to bore you any longer with it. So thanks very much for joining me. And I didn't use any of my cut out little pieces, but I'll probably make some more, and I'll make the most of the little ones that I've put together. So at least I've got a few in my stash. So thanks very much for coming along on my first crafting video since being poorly. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care everybody. Remember, give me a thumbs up if you remember. Take care. Bye.